भेजिए मैं 5-7 मिनट में।
हाँ हाँ, वो तो बहुत ही अच्छा
डेफिनेटली
रहेगा,
सर,
बहुत ही बढ़िया रहेगा।
थैंक यू सो मच।
The first thing I said was that this policy says some good thing about Indian mother tongues and greatness of Indian mother tongues, and in that way it posits Indian languages into the political discourse. In that way, maybe something fruitful, maybe outcomes we may find not through this policy, but for other reasons. So this policy proposes that a child will go to school after 3 years of age, and he will study in home language, mother tongue, or local language or regional language, and he will exposed to other languages also. What other languages are not stated in the cabinet approved proposal, but it was stated in the earlier proposal that a child will study 2 languages from other than mother tongue from the 3rd year onwards. From day one of his school. और वो 2 भाषाएं क्या होंगी उसके बारे में you will come to know what will go to languages once we go through this. The second thing it proposes is that and about mother tongue also it says wherever possible, education should be imparted in mother tongue, home language, and all those 4. So wherever possible, and then it says that from 6th class onwards, some part of science level curriculum will be taught in English also from 6th onwards. The third thing is that if anybody wants to change his language of these 3, he or she can do it in the 6th standard, 6th grade. But that formula will apply, 3 language formula will apply in mother tongue, and 1 Indian language is essential, and 1 can be any foreign language or English. Another thing is that it proposes that every child between 6th and 8th standard will study a fun course on Indian languages, Indian languages, which will teach about the remarkable unity of Indian languages. Though it is stated there that Indian languages have remarkable unity, but they have rich differences, significant rich differences also. That's stated there. Next thing is that between 6th and 8th standard, all children will study a 2-year course on a classical Indian language. And then between 6th and 12th standard, not 6th and 8th, the classical language is between 6th and 12th standard. Between 6th and 12th standard, they will study a course on a 2-year course on any classical Indian language. And then between 6th and 12th, they can also take a foreign language other than English as an elective subject, which they can continue later on. They can start from 6th year, and then they can continue until 12th in take foreign language. And then it proposes that Sanskrit should be, there should be provision for teaching Sanskrit from the day one of school, and from foundational stage. And it says that easy textbooks in Sanskrit should be written, and it should be made available at that stage as well. Then it says that there will be a commission for this provision for coinage and standardization of technical terminology. The central government will do it for Sanskrit and Hindi. For Sanskrit and Hindi, they will devise, coin and standardize technical terminology. But for other languages, responsibility lies with the states. I support this view that it's good that responsibility lies with the states and not. I don't want central union government to do anything with our language. Let states do whatever. Let Punjab do whatever they want to do with Punjabi, and keep the union out. And then it states that there will be a maximally commonality. Maximal commonality should be assured. Maximal commonality of technical terminology between different languages should be ensured, or इसके लिए there will be a coordination between the union and central government and the states. These are the proposal. It says that means that between 6th and 12th, a child will be exposed to 5 language courses, 3 languages from the day one after 3rd year of age, and then next one after 6th, which is the fun course on Indian languages, and then the 5th one from 6th to 12th, 6th to 8th, 6 to 12 on classical language, 2-year course on classical languages, and then they can take foreign language. And I call it black hole of Indian languages, language system, whatever you call it, black hole of languages, which will cover Indian languages as well, language learning and teaching, as well as Indian education. And then it says that that's the argument it adduces that why a child should be exposed to many language at early age. They say that research shows that child learns languages quicker and better between the age of 2 and 8, which is totally false. I have told that recently Massachusetts Institute of Technology has published a research in 2016, and this research was very extensive. 6 lakh informants, more than 6 lakh means 600,000 informants they had taken, and they came out with the result that anybody learns a foreign or other language other than mother tongue better after 15 years of age than earlier. And this is nothing new, because previous all studies condone that and prove that adult learns languages quicker than the child. Of course, child learns a language very quickly, naturally, his mother tongue and language of his environment in his context. But that's a different issue. Learning a language from an environment in a natural manner, and then learning a language in a classroom setting, the difference looks very small, but it is very big. I can't go into those reasons. Secondly, no one in the world is teaching second or foreign language. Second and foreign language is same for in linguistics parlance. Second and foreign language is same thing. For us, it is something different in India. So second or foreign language is taught on average after 9 years of age. 9th year, mostly. In some countries start even after 12 or 13 years of child's age. Canada teaches after 12. And I cited the instance of China because the people say that China is running mad after English, and they have recruited hundreds and thousands of teachers to teach English, but that's not true. China introduces English and foreign language at in the third class, that is 9th year of a child, and that is also not compulsory. It depends on school. The decision lies with the school when the school is to teach a second or foreign language, and they can delay also. On average, it is around the 9th year, after 9th year, and they teach a foreign language 40 minutes for 3 days in a week. That is 120 minutes, 2 hours per week. And foreign language or English, they are minor subjects, and major subjects are just Chinese and mathematics, and rest of even science is a minor subject till 6th standard, till the age of 12th year. Even science is a minor subject in China. Then I stated that an instance from an Englishman from Britain. He has learned 15 languages, and he speaks all the 15 very well. He said that this is false, that people think that child learns quicker. I said that child takes 3 to 4 years in a natural setting and under a very strong compulsion to connect with the world and communicate with the world and fulfill his needs through language. It still the child takes 3 or 4 years, but an adult can learn within 3 months. An adult can workable knowledge, an adult can have any foreign language. And what MIT told was that with 1 year education of a foreign language, training of a foreign language, an adult can learn, can score 80%, and 90% is the mother tongue mark. If you score 90%, that means you are equivalent, almost equivalent to mother tongue speakers. But an adult after training of foreign language for a year scores 80%. And then I cited the British Council statement, which says that it's totally an illusion that if you study in English medium, you will learn study English better and quicker. And they say that it takes 6 to 8 years for a child to learn English, that much English, that they will be able to understand the content of their curriculum. So 6 to 8 years, you can imagine the loss, the economic loss, the time loss, energy loss, and everything you can imagine. What does it mean, 6 to 8 years? And then British Council again condoned the earlier research that mother tongue medium is best for learning a foreign language, and it is an illusion that if you study in English medium, you will learn English better. If other things are equivalent, if education is equivalent, then mother tongue learner, somebody who studies in mother tongue and learns a foreign language as a subject, learns foreign language better than the one who studies through English medium from the very beginning. So then I said it has created a black hole. So many languages courses, and neglect of mother tongue even, and it makes room for introducing English from fourth year, which was not there. That's why I say English is increased, English is enhanced. Earlier in this government education stream, government schooling education stream, generally now throughout India, people teach English from first class, but not at all places. Even if we agree that it is being taught from the first class, that means a child starts learning English after 6 years, after the age of 6 years. But now the government allows that you can teach a child from the age of 3 years. And then it makes mandatory that some part of science must be taught in English from sixth standard onwards, which is not there. Earlier, there is no compulsion of English medium in government schooling till the age of 12th. In Punjab, at least. In Punjab, till 12th, you can study in Punjabi medium. Punjabi medium, all the subjects in Punjabi medium. But of course, you need to study English as a subject. That's a different issue. But then I said that what it neglects most is, it doesn't raise the issue. It says that Indian languages has been neglected, but it doesn't tell anything which languages and why they are neglected. And I told that to me, there are 1,500 languages in India. First, first census told that India speaks 1,652 languages. 1,652 it gave, but now it says 124, but only 22 are official languages. So unless we recognize those languages as languages, and that is why, which I didn't say in my Hindi talk, that is why the educational situation in the Hindi belt is very, very poor. The reason is they call it Hindi belt, they teach in Hindi medium, but there is so much distance between the Khadi Boli Hindi and bookish Hindi and the actual those languages. That's why it's very bad in Hindi belt. And I want to add that even that sometimes there is such a gap between the standard variety and the colloquial variety or the home variety of the child. Sometimes the gap is so big that even a standard variety of language is like a foreign language. Therefore, the best thing is to teach a child till the third standard at least in that local dialect. I don't say language, the dialect, but that is his language. That is a child's language, which is in which he is most comfortable, and he will connect with the school, with the teacher, with the curriculum. He will connect best with them. Then I said that some people think that marginalized sections are lagging behind there because they are not getting education through English medium because English medium schools need very much money. And I said that research shows that if medium is a foreign or other language other than mother tongue, the educational outcomes are worse for poorer children. The gap between the deprived children, the gap between the prosperous children increases. Does not decrease, but it does increase in effect. In fact, it says good thing that our courses, language courses in India are generally literature courses. That is true, and it must be amended. I'd say that the teachers should be given training in language teaching. Then lastly, what I stated, what we do to, and what will the result of this report? These are proposals. English will increase because now from seventh year to it goes to fourth year, and it is made mandatory for English science teaching. Science in English medium from sixth is made mandatory, which was earlier not mandatory even throughout the school years till 12th class, at least in Punjab. So it has increased English. It has created a black hole of languages. And then my suggestions are that what we should do. Well, it's very simple thing. Very simple is copy the successful world. What the successful world is doing, they are doing after long thought and long experience. What they do is they teach in mother tongue, and not in a national or not in the country's language. I say mother tongue. You find Spanish medium schools in America or Navajo medium schools in America and other medium schools as well. and you have Maori medium schools in New Zealand, Dirble medium schools in Australia, primary schools at least they are there. That's what the world does. That's why they are successful. Education in mother tongue, no language should be essential, compulsory. The compulsory thing should be a child will learn two languages other than mother tongue before he comes out of school after the age of till the age of 18. So those two languages, what will be those two languages? No, nothing should be compulsory. We should provide facilities for large number of languages. And one thing I said that it says that Indian languages people must learn Indian languages, but the provisions it makes, the Hindi world doesn't need to. Nobody needs to learn other than Sanskrit, Hindi, English, and mother tongue, whatever. Because now Sanskrit is made a modern Indian language, so anybody in Uttar Pradesh can choose Hindi as a medium, English second language, other language, and second language, and Sanskrit as third language, or Sanskrit as second, or English as third. Even Sanskrit can be medium now. So without completely fulfilling all the conditions and given in this document, they don't need to read any Tamil or Punjabi or Bangla. And I said that Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravid, Utkal, Bang brothers should not think that now this Vindhya, Himachal, Yamuna, Ganga people are going to study Tamil or Punjabi or Bangla. They can fulfill the three language condition with Sanskrit, Hindi, and English. No need to learn any other language. And then I said that only two languages, learning two languages other than mother tongue should be made mandatory, but what will the language should not be mandatory till 12th class. Then I said that we should provide strong language courses in the school itself about the language structure. Like we have science stream, commerce stream, we have arts stream, and similarly, it's good that in this language policy, they say that this division should be obliterated, and there should be the division should not be that strong. That's a good thing. But I want to include that this stream, language stream, also should be included, and that's very important for commercial reasons and for reasons of job opportunity. You know, language is a strong component now of each technology. You see localization of services, and then language, this machine translation, language processing. Language now involves almost each and every domain. So that's why we should provide more and more input about language structure, that people, our students know more about language, so they can take advantage of these new opportunities. And then I said that until our higher education is in mother tongue, we cannot make mother tongue medium in the school. It will not be possible, because people will think that since they are going to study in English medium in higher education, so better to start early as well. And all the illusions government is carrying, and our ministers and policymakers are carrying, or they are spreading. Their people are also carrying all those illusions. And then I said that, as Dr. Anil Halkova suggested, that until the quality of schools is enhanced, that the schools become good, medium can help a bit, but not much. And I said that you see in UPSC exams, Hindi medium candidates are getting in smaller and smaller number. The reason is the medium is in Hindi. They can write UPSC exam in Hindi, but the situation, the educational situation of the Hindi language, Hindi medium stream is so bad that they cannot, in spite of this Hindi medium, they cannot compete with the English medium people, and also because they come from deprived and marginalized backgrounds, which is a very, very strong factor and in educational outcomes, you all know. And then said that the union government should adopt all Indian languages for their work. Services should be provided in all Indian languages, and that will be cheaper, and that will be more efficient, and people will connect more with the government, and government will connect more with the people. The reason is, even now, they are translating everything from English. Why to translate from English? If you are to translate from English or translate into English, then why you are not allowing people to write to president in Punjabi or in Bangla or Tamil or in to write to Prime Minister in Punjabi. So until this is done, the Union government adopts all Indian languages as official languages. Till then, equality of languages cannot be established, and if equality cannot be established, we cannot have mother tongue-based education, mother tongue medium, etc. Then I said that education should go back to state list, as was the original provision in our constitution that was agreed upon by the whole of India, by all the freedom fighters who had won us freedom. They agreed upon this, and this distortion, the distortion which has been made into the constitution by taking education out of the state list and into the concrete list. Until this is done, education becomes a state subject. Large number of educational problems and language problems will remain in place and will not be able to get rid of them. I think I'm able to say a bit in English what I have stated.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words, even in English after one round of your talk in Hindi as well. We'll move on to take some questions as of now, if you permit, sir.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
So as of now, there are a few questions that has come by.
Yeah.
अतुल कलिटा has asked, भाषा ज्ञान के लिए कैसे करिकुलम सजेस्ट करना सकते हैं? And then Diksha Verma is asking, how will this policy affect the first generation learners going to school? Will it accelerate the process of learning as claimed by the policy or said by the policy? And the other question that
let me answer these two first. Yes. It will accelerate learning if education is really provided in mother tongue, but it leaves so many loopholes. And as I had stated that the commercialization, privatization of education and mother tongue medium, they are mismatched. They are fire and water. They cannot put in one pot. So the whole education policy is geared towards commercialization and privatization, and privatization and commercialization cannot exist without English medium. And for that only the whole English market is created. All higher education provided in English, all work is done in English, private and government, all English hegemony is created. Then that makes a place for this privatization and commercialization of education. And about curriculum, what should be taught? I think that's a little technical and longer thing to talk about. What we should start with, as the simple formula is that child should not be exposed to any language at least till third grade, till his 9th year of age. That's what most of the world is doing, and they are being very successful. Otherwise, we'll have all kind of difficulties.
Moving on to the next question. This is from our Facebook viewer. Parul Sethi has asked, sir, do you think this policy would bring a change in how private schools look at language teaching, or only state-funded schools and students from the same would bear the brunt of this language black hole? Would private schools find a way out?
Yeah, that is what it states. That is what it states. Number of languages, even all these courses will have to be carried out by private schools as well. It does state that cabinet approved document states that is for both and private and government schools.
But would they be able to find loopholes to make the?
It is, the loophole will be. It will not be. I don't think it will be passed by Parliament. It's a just cabinet approved document, and until it is made into an act, nothing will change. The Supreme Court decision stands. Supreme Court decision stands that you cannot impose any medium anything. But once medium is cannot be imposed, even languages cannot be imposed. They will go to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will decide in their favor.
So Ramurthy.
Most probably, I should not become Supreme Court justice. Yeah. Sorry for that.
No worries. So Ramurthy sir has asked, to what extent it is true that Sanskrit has greater knowledge than combined knowledge of Latin and Greek?
See, that's very strange. Whole of Europe studied in Latin till almost 300 years ago. You understand? And English was very late entry. French and German, French after Latin, French was the first entry, then Latin, German, and then all European languages, including English, became medium of instruction. They were teaching in Latin, and everybody agrees that they are ahead of us in all fields of life, be it science, technology, social development, maybe something. Of course, there is a great literature in Sanskrit. Once India was the greatest country in terms of knowledge as well in terms of economic power. We produced 22% of world GDP in 17th century. 17th century when Mughals were there. And now when the Britishers left, we were 2.78. And now it is below 5%, I think, maybe around 4 point something we are. So from 22% when there was no English, India was studying in its languages. One thing I more want to point out. Do you think Pali doesn't have a rich literature? Why government should coin terminology only for Sanskrit and Hindi and not for Pali? Pali is a classical language. Pali is as great a language. Pali is the language of the Buddha, Gautam Buddha. You understand? And that is the only, Buddhism is the only religion which widely spread out of India. And no other religion has spread that widely. And we are ignoring Pali, the language of Buddha. We are not asking that Pali should be taught that way with the Sanskrit is taught. We are not giving that importance to Pali. There is a great literature in Sanskrit, and most of the knowledge in Sanskrit has been translated. Most of the knowledge in Sanskrit has been translated through Hindi, through English, or through many other, even Arabic and Persian. There have been a great translation in Persian and Arabic before we translated Sanskrit into English and European languages. So all knowledge has reached us, and it's good that we should learn classical language. There's nothing bad with that, particularly when at advanced level in academics. For example, if I am a linguist, I want to study on Indian languages. So it will be a good advantage, it is beneficial for me to learn Sanskrit or Latin or Greek or Pali or all classical language. That is good, learning is good. But to say that if we learn Sanskrit, we will get some very, highest kind of knowledge which has not been accessed yet, that is false. And this is for sentimental reasons. This is for symbolic. This politics of symbols. There's kind of myths people are carrying in India. One of that is that Sanskrit is the greatest language. Sanskrit is the most scientific language. I can teach the quantum physics 2 days after in a tribal language. So in what way that tribal language is not that great? Give me 6 months and money within 6 months and tell me which tribal language you want to teach the quantum physics in. Within 6 months, you will get all the books in that tribal language, quantum physics books in 6 months. Why that tribal language is not that great? No language is poorer or richer. And that's a very important thing. I would like to give me 2 minutes. For thousands of years, no language has produced any new word. This might look strange to you. All these words we are coining, they are being coined with the roots and affixes, the elements which have been created thousands of years back when there was no schooling, there was no teaching, they were hunting. People are hunting wildly in the forest. They created all those roots and affixes for us. And then some language uses those roots and affixes and then becomes great. Those roots and affixes. That's what, see, I will give you an instance. Recently, last year, the Nobel Prize 2 years back was given for medicine for this autophagy. Autophagy is the process, the way body subsumes the dead cells, eats away the dead cells. And neither Otto is new nor Fegi is new. Otto is automatic, it's Latin, 1,000 years, maybe 1,000-year-old at least. And Fegi also is Bhakshan. You know, Bhakshan is in Sanskrit. Fegi and Bhakshan are cognates. So Bhakshan, the scientist takes Otto from one place and Fegi from other, then makes a new word out of Fegi. There is nothing new in it. It takes very little effort to coin words, and all languages has those basic roots and don't you think any in our languages have anything for Otto? We say apne aap, swam, khud, swam. This is Otto, apne aap. And all languages of the world must be having some word for self and swam. Yeah. So that kind of the Sanskrit will bring any. One thing and good about this report is that it gives you some sense of pride in Indian languages and Indian tradition. But that should be rooted in all Indian languages, not only for Sanskrit. We must be proud of our heritage, great heritage, our past, and richness of our language, richness of our literature, or richness of our knowledge as well. Now we lag behind, but at some stage we are ahead of the whole world. So that pride must be there, and that is, but that should be in each and every language. And rather, we should pay more attention to the languages which are not scheduled. They are the really dying languages. They need our first attention. Koshali needed first attention. Rajasthani needs first attention. Bhojpuri needs first attention. Gadwali needs first attention. Angika needs first attention. How many are there? Their number. They need our first attention, and this policy doesn't say even a single word about them. Just say that home language and wherever possible. Nowhere Angika will be, medium will be possible, but because you will not find books in Angika. And what this government can do, they said they will translate things into Indian language. What translation they can do? They cannot translate a 60-page document, policy document approved by the cabinet, other than Hindi, right? It was written in English, they translated it into Hindi, and they couldn't translate 60-page document. It is written in bad English, sorry to say that, that's no problem, nothing wrong with that. English is not our mother tongue. If I write in English, I will not write good English. No, nothing wrong with that. But that Hindi translation is so poor. I have some sentences to read. What is the Hindi translation? I think, allow me just to read one sentence. नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग और राज्यों के ओपन स्कूलों द्वारा प्रस्तुत ओपन स्कूलिंग कार्यक्रम. दिस इज फ्रॉम द हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन इन देवनागरी ऑफ दिस रिपोर्ट. वो हिंदी में they cannot translate in good Hindi a 60-page document, and then they claim they will translate all the knowledge into these languages. This is all just a sort of mask, right? Camouflage, I would say camouflage, nothing else. You read that report in Hindi and you will see, I say that they have denigrated Hindi by writing that kind of Hindi. It's an insult to Hindi. There are many people in India who can write so good Hindi and very effective Hindi and very appealing Hindi and comprehensible Hindi. Sorry for taking a little long. That needed a little elaboration.
Definitely no, sir. These are some of the very important points that you were trying to bring around. Ramesh Madhavji was raising his hand for some time. So if he has any questions, we'll take that up. Ramesh, sir? Hello. I don't think he's around.
Unmute Ramesh Madhav.
Does any of our members here have any more questions for the speaker?
Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, if there are no further questions to be taken up, then I think I can perform a small role that have been suggested for me today. I think we should always hunt for better people, but whatever it is, Professor Joga Singh, let me just flag some of the issues. And of course, given the limitations of time, you don't have to answer everything, although you can answer everything, I know. But
No, that's not possible.
no, that's fine. I mean,
Nobody can answer
and
everything.
please. So, no, and also some observations. And I'll try to be bilingual to the extent possible. First, you referred to, the Supreme Court judgment. I think that was in 2016 against the Karnataka High Court. 15, yeah. And actually, it was a reversal of Supreme Court's earlier positions. And earlier, up to 1992, starting with 1981, up to 1992, in different cases, the Supreme Court of India was upholding, the decision to introduce mother tongue as the medium of education. So there is a change that we see in the attitude of the Supreme Court itself, earlier upholding the decisions of the state government to introduce mother tongue as the medium of education, now declining to do so in the name of, quote unquote, the principle of choice, and that was never exercised earlier. However, what I was wondering is like this: whether this act really imposes mother tongue on private schools. And I am asking this question for the way I have read this draft policy. Because if you see the RTE Act, and there are two reasons, if you compare these provisions with the RTE Act, one of the things you yourself hinted, which is that it says, wherever possible, it is similar to what the RTE Act said, to the extent practicable. And we know that since 2010, when the RTE Act was notified, till 2020, in this one decade, English has expanded, rather than the mother tongues. So the second reason to ask this is that does it not rather reduce the scope for mother tongue? Because without making any distinction of public and private institutions, the RTE Act, again, I'm not a champion of the RTE Act anyhow, but whatever it is, the RTE Act, it, without any qualifications, of the kind that you see in this draft, said that it should be the medium of education up to, up to 8th standard, because that is what the RTE Act covered in the elementary education. Here, in a clever move, it says up to 5th standard, and preferable is up to 8th standard. So does it give or take away? That's the second thing is about, I was really wondering if you could reflect, there is a proposal in the draft about the setting up of the, what is it called? National Institute of Translation and Interpretation. And I want to emphasize the term National Institute, and I want to emphasize the term interpretation. Okay, so would you like to reflect on that in case? And the third is of course, in different ways in your responses you have reflected, but I was wondering if you could make some explicit reference, some explicit statement about one thing which is stated in the policy. I don't remember which section, but I remember clearly at one place it says Sanskrit is the mother of all Indian languages. You know, um, um, while actually we know that Sanskrit is one of the languages which is dying in a way. I mean, you don't have any Sanskrit language speakers as such today, but it says that Sanskrit is so. So, I mean, is it something which is driving the opposition in the in the in the south particularly? You know, so I mean that's the third thing. And the fourth, I was wondering, is uh, about English, because if I remember, in comparison to this draft, in the 2016 drafts, both the input document as well as the TSR Subramaniam committee report, they had laid emphasis strongly on making effective arrangements for teaching English. Now, what is the stand of this report vis-a-vis English teaching? And I'm asking this question because, you know, there is a particular section, for their right reasons, although we disagree because we have an alternative perspective, but there is a very powerful voice among certain sections of the intelligentsia, which has been demanding for, you know, English from early on. Fine. So we thought that the earlier drafts were responding to that, at least by making this statement that there should be effective arrangements for teaching English. But what is the position of this draft? You know, does it lay emphasis on, I'm not talking the medium of education, effective teaching of English as a subject, because you rightly made the distinction between you know, medium of education and a particular language as a subject. And my last thing that I was wondering is about higher education. It does say at many places in the chapter on higher education that universities and institutes of higher education will be opened up in districts, at district levels, preferably to teach in local / regional languages. It does say that. Now, you have already answered part of it, even without my raising this question, that you know, until the services like the UPSC or the judiciary or the parliament, etc., are functioning in English, you know, there will be very little scope for the flourishing of the regional and the mother tongues, etc. My question is like this, on this whole question, I mean, languages in higher education. Should we not abolish the, what is this schedule? Schedule 7 or whatever?
Eighth.
Eighth. Should we not actually demand for the abolition of Schedule 8 itself? And should we not oppose the provisions like the National Testing Agency, because now we are going to have single test for all universities, you know, for the admission of students. Because we really wonder, I mean, now services apart, I mean, how will you ensure that you have, you know, that different language speakers are at par in a system where you will have an NTA which will conduct a single exam for all universities. And I'm raising all these questions because yes, the policy has a very powerful rhetoric about, you know, progressive rhetoric about language. But as you said, I mean, it's all, you know, hollow, because when you look at the provisions, the actual provisions, they, rather than giving anything, snatch whatever existed so far. So that is what I was wondering when listening your powerful presentation, both in Hindi and in English. It's really, really admirable, I must say.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Shall I say words on this? Some words what the issue you raised.
Yeah, I think you should. Of course, I mean we are already
Okay.
running on the
First of all,
bedtime,
yeah,
but
I won't take long.
yeah.
First of all, National Institute of Translation and Interpretation is already there, National Translation Mission. And what achievements, what National Translation we achieved, most of us know. They have not been able to translate a, a document of historical importance for India, the National Education Policy 2020 into good Hindi, right? So it's already, number of things are already there. And they put word interpretation there. Large number of people have to be employed, particularly any party who is a ruling party. It looks for opportunities how they can accommodate their people who garner votes for them. And these interpreters, they will find large number of interpreters to make room for them. Secondly, you said that is mother tongue reduced? I would say English is increased. That means same thing. Earlier, English was compulsory from first class, as per the earlier Subramanian Committee and all earlier Knowledge Commission recommendations. They said start from first. But now they said that you start from fourth year of a child's age in Anganwadi. So English from school to Anganwadi and Sanskrit with it as well. Thirdly, the Sanskrit is the mother. What did you say about Sanskrit?
Yeah, I mean, it says that Sanskrit is the mother
mother
of all Indian languages.
There must be some mother for Sanskrit also. We shall search for it and then study that. Otherwise, Sanskrit was always there since man was born. All of us have come from Africa, and there must be some African language which is the mother of all languages. So we should introduce that African language in all because that is the mother. That's not true. We have 5 language families in India: Dravidian, Indo-Aryan, Austroasiatic, Tibeto-Burman, and I won't go into that debate who are the original. Bhils and Mundas are the original natives of India. Even Dravids came later, right? You know, and that is all history, all known historians and believable historians say that. So that is not true because at one stage Sanskrit had a kind of power which English has now. It was a language of religious discourse, you should say philosophical discourse, or academic discourse, you could say, at one stage. The way English vocabulary has penetrated into the, particularly in our languages and many languages of the world, the same way some vocabulary penetrated into Indian subcontinent language through English because there was a discourse carried out between the different say places and institutions. You could look other way around also. In some ways, Dravidian is the mother of Indo-Aryan. A large number of features of Sanskrit, they are borrowed from the local Dravidian language. So why can't we call Dravidian the mother of Sanskrit? All linguists say, I will give you one instance, the ta, tha, da, dha, na, retroflexes, which we speak by curling our tongue back. These are Dravidian sounds. This agreement system, our predominant large number of our system of our structural systems of our Indo-Aryan languages, they call it substratum influence. They don't say that Dravidian is mother, they will call it substratum influence. If Sanskrit influence is, Sanskrit becomes mother, but if Dravidian influence is there, that becomes substratum. So this is, no linguist will make a statement like that. If you are, बीमारी अगर हमारी कैंसर है तो कैंसर के डॉक्टर के पास जाना पड़ेगा. भाषा वैज्ञानिक को कहता है क्या? Does any linguist, professional linguist say that Sanskrit is mother of all languages, or even Indian languages, or even Indo-Aryan, I would say. Then thirdly, that you said that effective arrangements for teaching English, right? It's fourth thing. They have not talked to British Council even what is the way to go about learning English. British Council has offices in all Indian capitals. It is there in Chandigarh. I don't, and I'm sure I know that it is there in Delhi also, which is a central office. If I want to learn English and want to learn how to go about learning English, the first thing I will do, I'll go to British Council people. If you can't go in Corona period, you can talk to them on phone, video conference we are doing. If you don't, you have not talked to British Council people how to go about learning English, neither you have read anything how to go about learning English, how can you provide an effective system for learning English? All people, most of the people in the world are learning a foreign language just in 1 year. And that is enough. If you go to Germany, you want to do a doctoral research in German language, they will teach you German for just 6 months or 1 year. People study German for 1 year here in Delhi and then go to Germany and study medicine in German medium. We are not been able to learn good English even after 150 years of higher education in English medium. So effective teaching, how to go about learning English, no Indian government. First thing is, we should not blame this government about language question at least. All governments, from thick red to pale red to less red to more saffron, less saffron, whatever you may call it. On the language question, there is no difference at all. No difference at all. We had to fight for in Malayalam medium, Kerala PSC, Kerala government office jobs for Malayalam medium. Our people fought there till 6 months back. And the left government was not willing to make Malayalam medium for job examination tests in Kerala. And it's true, but all parties, all political forces, and because of this is an elite issue. So this is about all governments. We should not blame this government only for language question at least. All at par. All are at par. Whatever my other opinions about governments and ideology, I think for language there is no difference. Nobody has given any more say weightage to language than any other one. And then higher education and language. Of course, they say that university will be established. What kind will be university? Who will establish those? There are very many questions. There are so many loopholes. They are good. I said that it creates a rhetorical discourse, which I think is good. It will do something good. It makes that this language question has to be discussed, has to be talked about. Whatever they propose, this is good for India. The language has become one of the salient issues of political discourse now even. So there are so many loopholes. The power of market and power of all this elite and everything. I don't think even though you have a Hindi medium university at Varda.
Yeah.
And we had a Hindi medium M.Tech courses in Madhya Pradesh. All of them have flopped. The reason is that most of the elite who have all sports system for education go to English medium. Whoever goes to Hindi medium, they come from the deprived sections. They don't have that sports system. And the schooling in mother language is so poor that they cannot cope with Hindi medium when they do M.Tech courses. And M.Tech courses is getting closed in Madhya Pradesh. If that is being closed, how new Punjabi medium universities, private universities you will have in Punjab until and unless you tear off this, you pierce this hegemony of English in the market and everywhere. And that is politically and legally pierced until our languages are legally made mandatory in all walks of life, then nothing will happen, whatever the rhetoric will create. And then you have made a very good point abolishing that schedule. I am of the same opinion. Any instrument which disturbs equality of citizen, of language, of culture, of all things, that must be abolished and that must be done away with. The 8th schedule itself creates a Varna Pratha, language Varna Pratha, I call it. That the 22, they are more advanced, they are richer. Once you make a language of power, then to say this is more advanced because it is being used in the places of power. You start making Munda language of the Supreme Court. Munda will become more powerful than English, right? So it must be abolished. All Indian languages are national languages. I would say Smith varieties even not even languages. They are now national languages, and all are equal, and all should be. The ones which are not given recognition, they need our first attention. Koshali needs my attention before Punjabi. Rajasthani needs my attention before Punjabi because they are dying. We have to save them first. So this institute itself is a Varna Pratha system that must be abolished. And then National Testing Agency. This report talks a lot about, document talks a lot about localization. How you can enhance localism and empower localism once you have everything national. What will that test contain? Will that test contain a 100 marks test will contain 10 questions on Punjab? Is it possible? If there won't be 10 questions on Punjab, how a Punjab student, how a Tamil student, how a Uttar Pradesh student even, how they will be able to equally contest that test, isn't it? So this national test itself means that localization will be further marginalized, and that will damage us in all fields, be it education or language or whatever. In an effective administration, that's a very simple thing. Effective administration. Yeah? People go to bank branch and they give a form in English to an illiterate villager. Fill this up. Can bank can work efficiently that way? If that form was in Punjabi, he will get somebody at least to fill it up immediately. Like that. So this is all this national testing, national institute. Languages, Indian languages are not national phenomena. Punjabi is language of Punjab. Tamil is language of Tamil. Hindi is language of Hindi speaking area. Similarly, are other languages. Give them freedom. Let them do their testing. Let them do however they go about educating and do whatever they want the language. Of course, you can support them financially. You can advise them. You can advise them. Yes, you are going wrong over here. But this is what the successful world is doing. This is what the research says. Better you opt for this. We want to impose, but we would request you to go for this kind. You see that state adopted this and they have progressed. You will also progress. That sort of advisory role should be there, and that sort of collective thinking, Indian collective thinking must be there. But that collective thinking should not be there to kill our what is our national language. Our Indian languages are national languages, and any collective thinking on language should not kill national languages.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Shashank, are you there?
Yes, sir. So after a very important and insightful discussion, can we bring it to an end as of now?
Look, better we ask now the chairperson to
Yes.
speak.
Before we conclude, Shashank, I would like to thank Professor Joga Singh, because so many new things I've come to know, because I didn't know much of it. I don't know many things in any way, I must admit. And then
the fault lies with the linguists, Indian linguists. They have not made these things known.
No, it's so like I mean, I'm really like enlightened. I should say about so many things, and especially I like that like all our regional languages should be regarded as national language. That is what Constitution says. That your 7th chapter says these are our national languages, but that are only scheduled ones. At least it recognizes 22 as national language. That is constitutionally recognized one thing. Yes, it's excellent. And the last, that what you said, that any collective thinking should not kill our languages. Like that's great. Like I really appreciate everything that you have said. Thank you very much, Professor.
I have raised this on platforms, raised this issue that we should have Maithili medium and Bhojpuri medium schools in Ludhiana. If we want that Punjabis in Haryana should have Punjabi medium schools, We must provide Bhojpuri Maithili medium schools in Ludhiana. We should do justice to them. They love their languages. Sorry for that. Yeah.
Jagmohan sir.
Well, first of all, I'm really thankful to Professor Yoga Singh for putting so many, and he's always so good in when it comes a question of learning and language and the richness which has been brought by centuries of people's experience through their language. And very rightly, few questions have been raised and delineated on what is inside the in between the lines of this policy. We say something else and do it something. So thank you, Professor Yoga Singh. This is so exciting.
No, thank you very much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सबका सबको प्रणाम नमन. I have a great respect. I am part of AIFT now, and I should not say that. Yeah.
You are always. And I think we had a very good discussion. The only thing was coming to me that we definitely like to listen, because there is so much richness in the southern Indian languages. Some linguistic from South India should also we will invite somebody to give us more looking of that experience, but this is much broader. And
Yes, sir, sorry to intervene.
Yeah.
After Rabindranath Tagore won Nobel Prize, one name got to the Nobel Committee. That was a Rajasthani writer.
Yeah.
Well, he came up for consideration, went to a very high level. His novel, his name is one Rath, some Rath. He was considered for Nobel Prize, and we don't consider Rajasthani a language yet.
Well, Dr. Yoga Singh, I think Rabindranath Tagore could get the Nobel Prize because he was introduced to the Keats, and Keats actually translated his, learned his. So there is actually that communication, the richness is not what is recognized there. It is some, and that is why I say that Nivedita, Sister Nivedita actually was the negotiator between all our scientists with the West. She introduced to the West. She introduced Jagdish Chandra Bose to the West. She was actually writing English for them because she knew English. But very interesting thing that Banerjee, the old great man, wanted her to teach her daughter English, Sister Nivedita. She said, that crime I won't do because she must learn in Bengali. Then after that, when she has mastered her own language, then I will teach. So that is even that older. So she came.
See, to learn a language, you have a good linguistic ability.
Yeah.
That linguistic ability cannot be developed without mother tongue being the medium of education. As simple as that.
Very right.
So there are so many subtle things in language which are not accessible through an opaque medium like English or any other foreign language or any other language. That's a different subject. We can talk sometime on that. I have written a piece in Punjabi newspaper, how mother tongue helps learning in English. Why mother tongue has helped so much in learning a foreign language. And I have given these some technical details over there.
I will request you to send me to anybody else on email, whatever your work is there, we will share it.
I will translate into Hindi myself. It's in Punjabi. I will translate in Hindi and send to the AIFT office. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, and that paper which are showing your links, we can put it with our YouTube channel also, and this one, because this will go to the, tomorrow it will be put on the YouTube channel also.
Thank you very much.
Campaign. So I think it has been very interesting, and those questions which Dr. Vakayas that was explaining more of it, and we are all exploring. Actually, we are also trying to explore the alternative to it. It is not only on the policy issues, but on the ground level. Today, I had a 2-hour discussion with this was a combined group, from UP, Bihar, even Tripura people were there. So Munshi Premchand, Bhagat Singh, and the language, all these things were being talked over there. So people are definitely were asking, what should we do? I said, well, two things which we have learned. जो दो चीजें हमने सीखी हैं, मैं क्या बचपन में कि जब फिसलन ज्यादा हो, when there is lot of मतलब फिसलन ज्यादा है तो हाथ से हाथ मिलाइए, अगर आंधी चल रही है तो पांव जमाइए. तो somewhere we have to, and people are ready to take it up, because हमें तो this has been said that now you are on your own. सेल्फ आत्मनिर्भरता जो है वो हमें तो ये कह दिया कि हाँ, don't expect anything from us, from the, and you rightly said that there is a language of governance and there is a language of the people.
Yeah.
So they remain two languages, and that is why I think our Bhagata, they brought the language of the people on the agenda, whereas earlier Brahminical culture was only talking in the language of the ruling class. Sanskrit at that time was a cultured, Sanskrit means
any language which is not common with people. See, after Pali, the knowledge started spreading through Indian, they call it them vernaculars. देखिए, संस्कृत और भाषा के शब्दों के बारे में आपको एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ.
जी.
भाषा शब्द जो है ये संस्कृत के लिए नहीं था. संस्कृत का नाम संस्कृत था. भाषा का मतलब था those speech varieties which other Indian people are speaking.
People's language.
जो ब्राह्मण नहीं बोल रहे हैं. भाषा उसके भाषा जो बोली जा रही है, भाषा का मतलब भाष्य है, है ना. तो संस्कृत को तो संस्कृत थी, भाषा भी नहीं थी. भाषा तो दूसरी थी भारत में, जोकिंगली उसको थोड़ा व्यंग्य के रूप में भी कहना हो तो.
This is where I interestingly find there is a book in my library, well, how language is used to rule. The language policy of the whole British government and even prior to that East India Company was how to rule people, how to control their mind. So it is a mind control system which is a part of the governance, not of development of mind or giving equal.
It plays a big role in division of power.
Yeah.
Language plays a big role in division of power in the political sense, and also in all sense, social, political, whatever.
So I think it's really very learning process and our going forward. And in the meantime, we should start thinking that what private public initiative, like you rightly said, the whole economic crisis will collapse part of the private business which was going on. That is why, as you rightly said, more than.
Let me instill some hope. Let me instill some hope.
Yes,
just a minute. Let me instill some hope. This English medium fraud, it was not in crisis because schooling was not in English. It started in 90s, and now the consequences of English medium schooling, now they are out.
Yeah.
A BTech is planting this seedlings, paddy seedlings in Punjab village, right?
Yeah.
So this consequence, this has resulted in educational collapse. Indian education system was stronger till 90s. It has become poorer. It has not become richer. And the reason is that English medium came in, that created a divide. Elite went to English medium schools, and the rest of consciously the government school system was demolished. I would say demolished rather. And that's why we are in a crisis. And now they have come to know that the people who are studying through English medium in school, they are very poor in each subject.
Yeah.
A BSc Mathematics honors from Delhi University, excuse me, Vikas, a BSc Mathematics honors from Delhi University cannot compete in arithmetic with an illiterate villager.
that's
वो गांव वाला हिसाब पहले निकाल लेगा. I mean it. मैं आपको मजाक में नहीं कह रहा हूँ. थोड़ा सा मजाक भी है इसमें, लेकिन उसमें सच्चाई ये है कि they are so poor in the subject. Fault doesn't lie with them. we are killing children. See, if children are going to tuition, that means education, your schooling has collapsed.
Yeah.
And if children are studying in tuition coaching centers, not in schools. If schools were really working and schools were really teaching, why some people, a few except students, need some extra support, which was always there. But not everybody will need a tuition. The reason is this English medium. They even वो मैंने एक अपने प्रोफेसर को, उसने मुझे एक जीव विज्ञान का कुछ पन्ने दिए पंजाबी में अनुवाद के लिए, तो मैंने कहा आपको नुकसान होगा। उसने कहा क्या? मैं कहा आपकी इज्जत जाती रहेगी। उसने कहा कैसे? मैंने कहा ये पंजाबी में पढ़ के तो वो सब समझ जाएगा, गांव वाला भी समझ जाएगा, लेकिन अंग्रेजी में पढ़ेंगे, सुबह स्कूल में जाएगा, फिर ट्यूशन वाले का पैसा होगा, प्रोफेसर का इज्जत बनेगी। जब गांव वाला भी पंजाबी में पढ़ के जीव विज्ञान को समझ लेगा पंजाबी में, तो प्रोफेसर, यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रोफेसर की इज्जत क्या बनेगी? Anyhow.
So
Yeah.
thank you very much. And my real thanks are for our webinar organizing committee with Dr. Vikas' guidance. We could strengthen it. And actually, we are meeting on every Tuesday and Friday for a few times so that we can delineate, we can understand what is in between the lines of the this NEP document. So it's not just it is called policy, but you are rightly said, it is only approved by the cabinet. They will push it through the parliament also, but we are trying to understand, and people have a lot of interest. We will be meeting again, and last time we could have a problem with the Facebook Live, but now we have, it will stay there, and tomorrow it will also be available on the YouTube channel of the All India Forum for Right to Education campaign. So thank you very much, and thank you for all who participated, and please continue supporting. And most my thanks are to my webinar organizing committee, which has put a lot of labor and they have systematized it to take it further. So thank you, Mr. Joga Singh, for such a exciting talk and making us understand the intricacies of how mind develops and how language helps in developing the mind. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank
you, Dr. Vikas.
Okay, yeah, so I think you can stop the live, and yeah, but I must say that this time, this last minute effort by Professor Indrani Datta and Shashank, really, because I think it was just yesterday that they contacted Professor Joga Singh on my request and on the request of the webinar committee. And, within, less than 2 days, we had this program. So it's really marvelous. Hopefully we will have a proper calendar within a week's time so that, everything is advertised well in advance. And I really request all those people who have been watching or who will listen it later that they should share it widely in their organization's pages. And they should also write a note that this has been a very, very bilingual program so that, people in every part of the country and beyond can enjoy listening this program. So I think with that, we can close it and see them on Friday.
Okay, thank you very much. So
Thank
goodbye.
you.
Meet again on Friday, 7 p.m. Thank you, Dr. Indrani.
Thank you, Indrani. She made it possible. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We can have private chat now because we are also live.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.